Okay.
It look like it's gonna. It look like it's. It look like it's gonna let you do it.
It's working. So far, so good.
Yeah, it looked like, you know, let's see. Okay. So
It look like it's frozen right now, though.
okay. It's working. Hold on, I'm on the wrong one.
Okay.
Done. Hold on, I'm on the wrong one. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And we are up and we are officially.
Somebody just
Good
asked me about.
evening. I'm listening. Say it one more time
No,
for me.
somebody just asked me about the live. I'm sending them the link.
And I'm gonna show you. And you know what? Let me share this one with you. Hold on. I'm sorry, but you know, Zoom has its issues. So this is officially, we are officially share, messenger, send, sent. Check your
Okay.
inbox.
It just came through. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's live there?
We like Zoom has its pick and chooses, so Zoom like you tonight. Zoom don't like everybody. I mean, YouTube. No, YouTube have picks and chooses. So sometimes it'll let me do both. Sometimes it won't. That's why I say, hey, if it don't stream to YouTube immediately, give me about an hour or so, and I'll make sure it goes up.
Okay.
But I'm so satisfied. We are official, and people are able to join in, and we are here right now. And so, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I am so excited because I feel so privileged because I get to sit before a distinguished young man. And I'm gonna put my footprint in there. He's a young Black man, and he is out here. He is doing like phenomenal things. This man is an author. This man is a writer. This man is a poet. This man is educated. I mean, let the list go on and on. This man is an humble man. He's very humble. He is a man who likes to read because you can't write if you don't read. So you can kind of tell people who's very into books. We've never had a conversation before tonight other than texting people, other than texting each other back and forth on Messenger. This man has some phenomenal things going on for himself. But one thing that I like about him, before I tell a few things, before I read briefly of his bio, I like the fact that he is very humble, and he truly has a passion for what he does. Like I don't even know him. I'm getting to know him, but just based off how he responds, based off his writings, based off looking at his social media, he is very passionate about what he does. He is careful how he articulates things. So, Mr. Justin, I'm not careful how I articulate things, okay? I'm not. I've never been that way. But he is very careful in his articulation, in his writings, and his poetry. And it's just truly phenomenal. And before I read his bio, I want to read something, if you don't mind.
No, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to read something of his, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I want to read something that really caught me. If we don't win, we lose. In today's social media driven world, it often appears that personal perfection and self-centeredness takes precedence over our relationships, period. We come to expect that if someone doesn't make us feel like the center of the universe at all times, they're unworthy of our existence in their lives. We've worked diligently to shape ourselves into flawless beings, complete with stringent requirements and standards. If even one insignificant box even isn't checked, we label it as setting. It's become commonplace to resist the natural process of growing into someone else's reality through mutual understanding and compromise. Instead, We're drawn to those who may disrespect us, but offer offensive gifts and fleeting physical pleasures. It seems that being screwed in a name brand way holds more allure than cultivating a meaningful connection. Period. And I'm going to stop it right there. I want to introduce, and he will get a chance to elaborate on that as well as others, but I want to introduce the man of the hour. His name is Mr. Justin Wilson, and I want to read you all a few things about him of his bio. Justin Wilson is a thought provoking author, as you all just heard. Very thought provoking. Known for his, now, you know, I got a 4-year degree and I can't pronounce the word.
You know what? Poignant
And my
is the
sister
word.
is going to talk about me. She's a school teacher. Jesus. Whew. Hold on. Poignant.
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 I don't even, you know what? After I reread that, I was like, I think that's it, but it can be.
I'm from
So,
Mississippi. I
mhm.
don't. Poignant.
It just means sad. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't
My
agree
sister
with that.
gonna
So
love
yeah.
this, honey. She gonna be on me because I'm kind of rusty, but whatever. He is a poignant. He is known for his poignant poetry and short stories that explore real life experiences and challenge societal narratives. His writing encourages meaningful conversations, introspection, particularly around the often toxic discourse between genders. Justin's debut, From the Pews, and his follow up, Courageous Vulnerability, have been praised by mental health professionals for their honesty and depth. His poem Sip was featured on Dr. P.G.B. Hudson's blog and discussed by a podcast panel, solidifying his voice in contemporary literature. Inspired by his faith and family, Justin's work aims to foster understanding and positive change in today's divisive society. Mr. Justin Wilson, thank you so much,
Thank you
so
for
much
having me.
for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
What encouraged you into writing? What draws you to writing?
Um, so I started writing at 14 years old, I believe it was. I came across the book by Tupac, Concrete and the Rose. A Rose in the Concrete, and I read the book, and just coming from Tupac, it was like, wait, he not supposed to write stuff like this. So, but he did, and I was inspired by it. Now, I couldn't tell you one poem in the book because I read it that one time, but it inspired me to write. And then I came across a teacher who saw me writing and just kind of gave me a push into what poetry was. And I pretty much just I used to use it. I've used poetry as a stepping stone. I've used poetry as a hideaway. You know, having conversations that I would have conversations in my poetry that I didn't feel I could have in the open without being judged and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, poetry has been a way for me to hide, and now I'm using it as a way to not hide and to hopefully be a help to other people.
Okay. So with your writing, what I hear is more so therapy. It's an
Yes.
escape.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to get biblical or churchy, but reading it can become therapeutic, and it can be ministry for some people. Because when you read it, you can feel
Hmm.
there's feeling in your writing. So what when you write to this, because this is not just basic writing. The right word, you use the right word, literature.
Hmm.
This is deep writing. So with your writing, what would you like to see happen in more homes and more schools in regards to this type of reading, in regards to this type of literature that is, and I'm not going to ask your age, but I'm going to tell mine. I'm 46 years old, and
Hmm.
I'm not an old person, but there are things that I know we had to read in school. Okay. This type of literature, it's not offered like that anymore.
Mm.
It's not. Maybe in some schools, but at one point things used to be offered almost across the board.
Yes, ma'am.
So what would you like to see more? How would you want people to benefit from your writing style?
Um, I'll be 40 October 9th, so I'm about to join the 40 club. Um, I would like to see people be able to sit in the living room and have a conversation, not like do the social media thing, but sit in the living room and have a conversation, let people be able to share their thoughts with each other and actually listen to each other, like have a deep conversation, talk to and not at each other. I seen your video about the JD Vance thing, and I was like, you know what? Like, that's so true. Even if you disagree, like at least listen to the guy. You know what I'm saying? And I think we don't do that enough in this culture, period. Like across the board, I don't think we listen to the other side because there may be a benefit. I'm not saying you're gonna go out and vote for somebody, but at least listen to what people are saying. I think a lot of the issues that we experience is coming from not listening. Because when you post on the internet, it's a post, you can walk away from it, and it's that. But a conversation to me is so powerful because I think that relationships start with a conversation. Um, and there can be something magical about a conversation that can be liberating and empowering. And it ain't always gonna come from somebody that's gonna tell you everything you want to hear. Those people, I strive to be, but I'm not, to be honest with you. But the people who people would say they're disrespectful, but the people who are willing to say what comes to their mind, I admire those people to the top and to the bottom. I love people who will just say what's on their mind because there's a liberty in that. And for those who are willing to listen to what is said, not necessarily how it's said, I think there's a lot to be gained from that. And so with the book, as you can see, there's questions associated with each piece. Those questions, I tried making them where they can be something somebody sits down and introspectively think about for themselves, or you can sit in a group and have a conversation about it. Like I'm fine with somebody thinking that everything I wrote was trash. If you do, please inbox me. Let's have a conversation about it.
I want to you mentioned about listening. And like I said, I'm not trying to go to church and all of that and all of that. I'm not trying to go to church and all of that, but I can remember we was in, and this is pre-COVID, so this is not a COVID situation that occurred. We was having a meeting at church, and I was part of a connectional church. And they brought this guy in to we was having a leadership session. And you could just hear some of the people in the background, mainly your clergy people, talking because, of course, they brought somebody in and, got your own people, all this kind of stuff. We tend to do that. And when I say we, I'm not talking about Black people, I'm just talking about people in general, right? Mm-hmm. And so one thing that always stuck with me that man said, I can't even tell nobody his name to this day. The man said, the problem, we don't know how to reason with one another. If basically, and then he basically broke it down to where we don't know how to agree to disagree. And that's a big problem. And like that's been before COVID. That was a few years before COVID. And that has always stuck with me. And I don't know if it's something, I know it's something that I specifically needed to hear because honestly, in that moment, even though I can kind of go overboard, but I really started not just listening one way. I just started listening. I read a little bit more if I have any questions about anything, if I ask Mr. Justin Wilson something, I'm not going to interject when he's responding back to me because I truly need to listen to what it is that he has to say. And then when I read your writing stuff, like I'm not gonna act like this type of writing is normal. This is gifted kind of writing. And I know I can say that. I have my own reasons. I can say that because even though I was hell on wheels in school, I was taking them comp pre-college classes too in
Mm,
writing and in English. So
mm.
I know good writing when I see it. I mean, I've competed with extemporaneous and impromptu writing with impromptu speeches before in high school. And so
Yes.
when I read how your wording is and the in depth of it and the feeling of it, there is still something inside of you that draws that out. And so, you know, what would you want more to happen in regards to people being drawn to write? If it was three things or four or five, I'm gonna say between three to five things you could tell a person that may be wrestling with writing, what would you tell them to consider when they are journaling?
Um, I would say don't while your mind is giving you the thoughts, just write it down. I can't say don't think about it, but just write down what's coming to your mind. As a writer, I have the way my writing works is I'll go months without writing anything, and then I'll just get a rush, and it'll be 3 or 4 or 5 days where every subject I think about comes to mind, and I just write it down. I go back and do all of the grammatical correction and the spelling and all of that. I clean it up after, but I at least put my thoughts down so that it goes from here to the pad. So I would say do that. You said something earlier about reading, like become a reader. Try to get you a few minutes of reading in every day. I watched the Malcolm X movie a while back, and I seen how he would hear a word and then go to the dictionary and read it, and hear a word and go to the dictionary and read it. And that's kind of how I became over the years. If I don't know a word, it's probably close to impossible for me to continue any more thoughts until I go and read exactly what that word means. Now, I may not introduce it into my everyday vocabulary, but at least I now know what the word means, like the word poignant. Um, when I heard it, I was like, man, I like this word. I'm gonna include this in my bio. But then I thought about it like, yeah, the words sound good, but it just means sad. And I don't want to be known for just sad poetry because that's not what I'm trying to do. But sad is a human emotion, one that we as humans don't want to acknowledge that we experience, but we do. But whatever you are thinking about, just write it down. Be okay with how you feel. Don't allow yourself to invalidate yourself. If you're anything like me, you second guess yourself. I second guess everything I've written. I've written it 5 or 6 times differently. I've read it 5 or 6 times, and then I just kind of got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put this out there. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. This is how I feel. This is how I translate the reality that I'm experiencing through my eyes and heart, and this is what it's gonna be. So just stay authentic in your writing. Be okay with what you write down, and then you know, in I think every poet has, or every writer has, a personal stash. Be okay with your personal stash. You got some things that you needed to get off your chest. You wrote it down, and nobody will ever read it. Um, but be okay with that. uh yeah, be okay with that. So that would be my advice. Just like stay true to what is going on in you. Um, while I so appreciate and I'm flattered uh at your words. I've not heard poetry described that way before, so elegantly, but it's just from the heart. It's what I see and how it translates to me, and it's from the heart. For the sake of discussion, I love to have discussion about it, but I'm not. I've thought a lot about the stuff that I wrote down. I'm willing to change if I'm shown it's wrong, but it is definitely going to be a conversation before I change.
So the little section I read, let's can we talk about that?
Absolutely. Anything you want to talk about, I'm all for it.
So talk to us. Talk to us about it.
Fighting.
Talk
Well,
to us about
fight then. Ain't nobody holding you. I'll off them. We'll off them. Plenty of crackers walking around here tonight. Did you say those words? Dude.
Hello?
Okay.
Oh,
I had to mute somebody because somebody came off mute, but I got everybody muted
okay.
except you and I. Yeah, we had somebody that came off mute, so I just got everybody muted because we're recording.
Right.
I want to make sure we're being respectable to the presenter tonight. So that and then we'll open up after, if Mr. Justin, if he has time.
I got
Okay,
time.
this is his night. So Miss Letha like to talk a lot and in here hour ahead of me and see. I don't want to mess up nobody's schedules and all that kind of stuff. So that section I read to you, that I read not to you, but talk to us about that section.
So, during COVID, a lot of people started going live, and it was a whole lot of YouTube going on. And I would hear different guys and women sharing a lot of perspectives on relationships and how women and men should act. And I'm I'll say this: I was COVID started, or we kind of went down and everything started shutting down. What October, November, December.
Shut
I
down?
Yeah.
No, they shut the world down in February.
Okay,
March. Was it
so
March? So I think maybe it was March. But
okay,
we were opening back up in the fall.
okay, so it 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 was a little before everything started shutting down here in New Jersey, and we was kind of like not there. But I pretty much learned that I would be going through a divorce, separation. I moved into my own apartment, and I'm thinking a lot about relationships in that moment. Um, I would watch videos, and I'm listening to this stuff, and I'm saying like, do people really think this way? Like, do you really think you're going to talk to a woman or talk to a man this way? Like, you're going to tell this person they're nothing but a paycheck. You're going to tell this person she's only supposed to listen to you. And do people really only see the value of a person based on what they've been able to acquire in this life, which can or cannot be a representation of who that person is? Um, I grew up in the church. I've talked to a lot of people. I used to do quite a bit of work with the homeless, and some of the most intelligent and well-spoken people I've ever met have nothing, um, as far as things go. And so when I would listen to that stuff, it would just sound so ridiculous to me And then I reflected back on some of the mistakes. I was, like I said, I was going through the divorce. So I'm reflecting back on some of the things that I could have done different and things that I could have done better, and realize like I'm not against my person. Things come against us, but it's gotta be about us. It can't be about everything else. It has to be about, I call it the us. So like going into when I think about relationships now, and in my relationship that I'm in, I'm considering us. I don't have to be right all the time, nor can I be, but I don't have to be right all the time. Being the head and being a man does not mean that if I said it's go, let's have a discussion. We don't live in the day where people are ignorant, and women are ignorant and they don't know anything. Perhaps being a good leader is being able to listen to somebody. And so when I wrote that, that was me just saying like we have to see each other. We have to see if you're with a person that if you're with a person that the conversation and the time that you share with each other has given you a biological and emotional connection to that person, you should be able to listen to that person. And that is ultimately what I'm saying. Like if we're gonna have relationships, let's give them a real chance. Let's talk to each other like we care about each other. Let's actually care about each other. Let's not just um exist for Facebook or social media pictures, and then when social media is not involved, when people are not involved, we can't stand each other. Let's actually try to build. I pull from our elders, people who have spent 40 and 50 and 60 years together, and you can if you can get an honest group of those people, was a lot of mistakes made. It was a lot of headaches made. It was a whole lot of if they didn't have the Bible, they would have been divorced, but they pushed through it. And I think the I think that what they had is that grounding that would not allow them to quit. And I think nowadays we just quit so easy. Like I don't want to deal with the headache. And it's like you do know you're a headache too sometimes, right? You do know you can have your ways too, but I think that if we go into relationships with the idea that I am going to do everything in my power to make this work, if that's the mentality going into it, um, I think relationships will work. Because I think that relationship, and despite my divorce, I think relationships and marriages are like the most beautiful things in the world. Um, I believe that's a lot of value in that. And I know as a man, and I probably am not supposed to say this, but I am very inspired by the woman I'm dealing with. Like I don't feel like working, but I'm going to get it because I want to make sure that I can do uh the things that I want to do for my person. I got all daughters. So I want my daughters to see me getting up, going to work early, um, and doing what I gotta do for them. um I want to be the example of a man for them. So not just getting up and working hard, but also in writing my book. I have a younger daughter who's a writer as well. And she's working on her book, and I'm encouraging her, but I'm kind of staying back and letting her do her thing. But I literally put the reason that the first book and this book got put out was um I wanted to leave something on record for them. But back to the original question, the poem is about not being selfish. I don't believe it is. I don't think any relationship works when it's a selfish component to it. I just refuse to believe that you have to be selfish, you have to be self-centered, you have to be smart because we do live in a world where people are for self, but the second I see a for self situation, then we have a conversation we need to have.
Wow, I want to thank you for that because you know I, I I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of a man, but
Hmm.
I have a man on here,
Hmm.
and it appears to be that and I have two sons. I do. One is 20, one is um 19.
Hmm.
And I have a daughter, but she's the oldest. But we from a male perspective, I don't believe in teaching men, boys, young teenagers, young boys. I don't believe in teaching them to not have feelings. And in today's world, in any form of the world, if a man cries or if he gets emotional, he's deemed soft or he's deemed weak. So if you could speak to those young boys, those teenagers, those young adults, those young men, those men 40 and older, those senior men, who have feelings, but may feel like they don't want to seem weak to the outside world, what would you tell
I would ask, what is more courageous than facing your fear?
them?
So culture teaches us not to share our feelings. Let's think about what that has done for us. A lot of the young men in the hood have taken lives because um their feelings were hurt and they couldn't show that, or it got exposed, so then they make a decision that sticks with them for the rest of their lives. So I believe that we as men have to strive to be more emotionally intelligent. You have to understand that you are a human being even before you're a man. When your mother and father get told, or the evidence presents itself that your mother was pregnant, you were a human. They didn't know whether you were male or female, but you were a human.
Mhm.
Despite anything, you were a human in gestation, and given the time, you are here. So the time was given. Um, you're a human being. Um, if you need to cry, cry. And I don't care. It doesn't matter that if you have people around you so toxic that you can't be a human and feel, get from around those people. Um, I'll say this for the sake of somebody who may want to think it's so I'm the type of person, when I was the type of person that when I got angry, I would get teary-eyed, I would cry. Then I would get mad because I'm crying. And now there's that element of embarrassment because of the culture. And I've been about to make some life-altering decisions based on that. And I no longer want to do that. You first of all, what manhood is not one thing. Let's be clear about that. Manhood is not one thing. You can be stoic. There's a level of stoicism that comes with it. You can be courageous. You can be bold. I'm from the South, so I believe in all of the Southern tenets of manhood, but I also can acknowledge that um you can also be an understanding man. You can have a tender side as a man. I have all daughters. Uh, so I had to learn how to have a tender side. Um, and so what if some other guy questions your Manhood. That's his question, not yours. You don't have to care. You do not have to care what some random person or some person that you know thinks about your manhood. I am a man. That's what I am. I'm not trying to prove my manhood to somebody. I put on my pants one leg at a time, just like the whatever Superman is. I paid my bills. I get up, I go to work. My daughters love me. My daughters know they're loved. That's what's important to me. The people in my life know that they're loved. So don't let somebody tell you that you shouldn't express your emotions because I'm gonna tell you something, you're going to express them. You're going to express them. And if you hold them in and bottle them up and let them sit, the thing about feelings is that you can shut them out and you can grow accustomed to locking them away and you'll become a sociopath or a psychopath. You'll end up in a place mentally that you don't want to be. And then your relationships suffer from it. Your friendships suffer from it. If you find somebody that you love, you'll be bleeding on them about things that had nothing to do with them. And so I would say, practice, first of all, find somebody that you can have a conversation with. Find somebody that you can tell how you feel. It's important to have that safe space. Um, my mother, who's on here tonight, that's sharing more, and my sister, they encouraged me to get into therapy. And that was like they say talk therapy don't work on men. Work for me. Um, lifting weights is better for me, but or it feels better to me, but talking therapy definitely helped me. Um, And then I got involved, which my mother was trying to convince me to do for years, but I got involved with a men's group called Men's Village. And I went there for the first time with one thought. And when I left there, I was like, oh, yeah, I will be doing this indefinitely. It was the most amazing thing in the world to be able to say the thing that culture and society tells us we shouldn't say out loud in front of a group of men, black men, and then they held me accountable, validated me, helped me think my way through this thing because I had something that was on my shoulders about my manhood for a very, very, very long time. For a very long time. And it had me question myself. I was mad at myself because I didn't act out. I had a situation where I didn't act out in a way that could have cost me or someone else their life. Um, And I'm like, if you was a man, you want to let that slide. Like culture has had its impact on me. And then talking to men who were healed, men who were matured, men who had been through it, they was like, no, you didn't make the wrong decision. Don't let that culture dictate to you that you're making the wrong decision because you feel you are human. You feel if anybody that don't like I refuse to deal with people who won't allow me to feel. I just won't do it. I would not go back to not being able to be a human being again. Before I'm a man, I'm a human being. So for any man out there that don't think you are allowed to feel, that's your choice and nobody else's. Feel. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to go and cry by yourself, cry by yourself. Great place to cry is a shower, but don't hold it in. Write it down, get into therapy, have conversations in a safe space, read. All of that stuff will help you process your thoughts. Learn how to process your thoughts. Those are major factors. What you're reading in that book is a man processing his thoughts on things.
I want to interject briefly because you said something, and I want to commend. It's two people you gave a shout out to, and I need to commend them. I want to start with your mother. So, Mom, thank you Sister, thank you, because Black folks, we not taught to get therapy. It's just it's when I tell you to hear you say that and it just oozes through me because men do cry. And for me, I mean, I got my dad is still living, my mama gone to glory. I got my brother, I got my sons. I know what I see. I got my other half. I know what I see. And I think that it, you know, I don't know where it came from. Your mother could explain it better because I can't explain, right? But for her, you're 40. So I'm going to say your mother is probably at least 58 to 60 years old. That's the minimum. Unless she was a teenage mom, and if she was a teenage mom, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
She was a teenage mom, yeah.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
But I think that this big board has been put up that Black men has got to maintain this level of masculinity of not having feelings, and then it's like that is truly not how it's supposed to be. But you don't have enough people that they can connect to, because this is no disrespect towards your mother or your sister, because they did something awesome. I applaud them for telling you that, and I applaud you for listening. But people are more so likely to listen to people that they consider a peer of somebody that they seem like they're on the level of. Mm-hmm. So, somebody in their mid 40s or 40s or younger, they will connect to you because they're hearing you say it. But still, just to hear you say it, it means a lot. So with my head down, I was sending it to like y'all, two people I know is like into like mental health, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, if y'all, even if they don't do it right now because they not on social media, I was sending them like the YouTube link because it's like, I don't understand why we ain't been taught that counseling and therapy is okay.
Because we got to be tough. The idea of what being tough is, and it's just not that. So you read Pray. That was the first poem that I sent you. That was an experience that I had. I held on to that for 30 years. I just sat on it. I couldn't do anything with it. And then one day, after years of praying and everything, because you hear the spiritual aspect that it is a churchy thing for me. God delivered me from it, and I wrote that piece. And then one of the other things that happened during the separation and divorce stages, the early stages of it, when I was just sitting in the house by myself, is I came across a clinical psychologist named Jordan Peterson, and I watched hours and hours and hours of his lectures. And I just realized that, man, the battle is here. If we think we gotta be whatever, what is it? As a man thinketh, so is he. If whatever we think of ourselves, that's the standard that we hold ourselves to. So if we think that we can't go to therapy and have a conversation, we can't. Okay. And I'm here to say, yes, you can. Screw culture. Screw what everybody else say, because how many young men have to go in the grave before we realize that what we've been doing isn't working? How many men have to stress themselves to death before we realize how we thinking plays a part in that. How many of our women have to be destroyed because we as men think we got to be a certain way? Like you can't just love the woman you with. You know what I'm saying? Like our women got to be in defense mode because the men are in this mode where we got to portray something. And I'm saying you ain't got to do none of that. You can love the woman you're with. Y'all can just be together and be happy. Y'all can be okay with each other's existence. Um, I never forget the young lady that I'm talking to, my girlfriend, right? I knew something was different about her the day me and her was having a conversation. And she said, "Hey, if you ever just like can't verbalize it and you need to text it, just tell me and text it to me." And I'm so much better at writing than I am talking. And I was just like, what? But the freedom and the safety in that statement, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is something. This is something that I gotta I won't be in a relationship that won't allow this. I won't involve myself in situations that won't allow this freedom. Like I'm going to be a man my way. And I'm not going to allow the toxic aspects of culture to dictate to me that I have to be violent, that I have to be mean, that I have to treat people a certain way. I'm just not gonna do that. And if you are the type of person, if you're a go-getter and you're a hustler, be all of that. But you don't I encourage people, you may not believe it, but emotions can be so heavy sometimes that you could physically feel emotions on your shoulders. Um, you can stress yourself into bad health. And a lot of that stuff I believe is tied to expectations. And I'm just saying don't allow yourself to deal with that no more. Don't allow culture to force you to be something you're not. I'm saying if you don't have a group of friends that you could be vulnerable and honest with, go get a group of friends that you can be vulnerable and honest with. Or go see a therapist. You pay them, they can't tell nobody. Um, but I don't believe in trying to be something that I'm not. I'm not going to act like I don't feel. I do feel. I do. It matters to me what my kids think. It matters to me to some degree what culture thinks. It matters. Like these things matter. These things have an effect on us as human beings. And if you are the type of person that cannot feel, there are clinical terms for that. And you don't want to be called them. So yeah, that's what I would that's what I want to say about that.
So your book,
Hmm.
talk to us. You gave a good synopsis of who you are, what you stand for. Uh, you talk to the men, you talk to the women. Your book. Talk to people briefly about your book. You know what the goal of the book was, what the purpose of the book is, where they can purchase the book,
Um,
and what
so,
I'm gonna do, which
mhm.
it on my end, um, I'll post it and you'll see it. I don't even want to say it right now. You'll see it. I'm pretty, and I always hold firm to what I say I'm gonna do. You will see it.
I'm
But talk
going to
about your book.
I'm gonna tell you, I do want to say this. I supposed to sent your book a week ago. I take the book out with me every day, and then on my job, between the hours that the post office is open, I just can't make it. But I
It
promise you the first
happens.
Listen,
week out.
Listen, hold on. See, we don't want to deviate, but let me say
Okay.
this. And I know mama on the phone. Shat, because I don't want to say S-H-I. I want to say S-H-A-Y-Y-T, mama. So please forgive me. Stuff happens.
Yes,
Stuff
ma'am.
truly happens. And I want to say that to you because I had to say it to somebody else that I truly care for the other day that I happened to work with. We don't need to apologize when stuff happens, okay?
Right.
Things just happen.
Mm-hmm.
It warrants no apology. That goes back to, you know, what you just said, because you just said something to me that I never even considered. You with somebody, and if you can't say it, she's okay with you texting it. Now, what that signal to me was, even in this society, these younger people are in a society of texting. I get irritated when mine don't call me, but you just basically let me know something on a whole nother level. You see how you can kind of reach and connect to people and draw people in. And if people are, the one word you said, listening, if we're listening, so you don't apologize for that. Like, it's not like you're not. I mean, clearly you're a busy person. Stuff happens. It's okay. I got yours coming. It ain't been sent out yet. My schedule been jacked up. I done had to cancel recordings and everything. I done apologized to people. I don't know what happened. Gratefully, everybody has been understanding, and we got to come out of this. We apologize for stuff when we know that we don't intentionally do things.
Absolutely.
Right. So we're not gonna go there. Your presence is enough, and not just your presence here. Your presence in the world, in the earth, truly matters, because you bring something truly unique. Because unique is something where it means you're set apart. And those people that set apart don't fit in the norm. You don't fit in the norm with your writing. So we're not going to apologize for, like, hey, if she can't be understanding, and the people you deal with, even on a business friendship level, if people can't understand, then the heck with them.
Right.
Because stuff happens.
Absolutely. So, to answer your question, the book, anybody getting the book and reading it, I would hope that there are ways that they can see themselves. I have found in my experience that sometimes it's easier to talk about other people than it is yourself. However, when you're talking about other people, it don't stop you from seeing yourself. You may not acknowledge that you see yourself, but it don't stop you from seeing yourself. And so I wrote the book, and it's titled Courageous Vulnerability, because this is me saying this is what I've been through. But the hope is for people to read it, make a connection, and see themselves. If there's a young man out there being influenced by this garbage relationship stuff, man, if you got somebody and y'all good, y'all be good. You don't have to be that relationship. Be your relationship. If you have a man that has a similar experience like the one discussed and pray, man, go get therapy. Uh, go talk to somebody. Share that. Understand that that did not take nothing from you as a man. Um, I think that there are a lot of men who have that experience, who never share it with anybody, and they take it into marriages, they take it into relationships, and it is having an effect on you whether you realize it or not. And the way you take the power back is by saying it happened. I often tell people I was victimized, but I am not a victim. I'm a victor. I'm not going to be a victim. I was victimized. You got that, but we're not doing that no more. Because I gave 30 years of that situation to that person who perhaps ain't thought about it. And you can't have no more of my time. it happened. You got it. And now I'm going to empower myself and others by saying it happened, but you can get through it. You can make it. It's okay. God got you. People that really love you and care about you got you. Uh, Anybody looking at you awkward because of something you went through is, and I don't even like to say this about people, but a person that look at you awkward because of an experience that you had that was beyond your control is ignorant. You don't really need that person in your life anyway. Um, I would hope the book inspires conversation between couples. I would hope the book inspires introspection into men, things related in the book, and just whatever comes to your mind while you're reading it. The poem, there's a poem in there for the dads who don't necessarily get to experience their kids the way they want to. And uh you could, if you're a dad like me, I battle with feeling like a deadbeat. Now I'm there for my kids. Like I want my kids can call me at any time, but I still battle with feeling like a deadbeat because I'm not in the house with them.
Okay, I'm not trying to go here, but let me stop.
Okay.
Let me stop. I'm sorry. Y'all gotta quit doing this to me. When I say y'all, I don't mean men, I mean people in general. So I have to say this. Okay. I'm just getting to know you. I don't know you from Adam's house, cat. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You need to, here's the thing. Stuff happens. Okay. You can't carry that on you. First, because, and I tell people, because you can't have that freedom with your children if you don't have it with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let that go. Regardless of the situation, I don't know how it happened. I'm not here to try to analyze it, but I'm here to tell you as a parent, because it go both ways. They ain't just separating these kids from these dads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. So if you remain genuine in your heart, if you remain humble in your heart, if you don't forget, and if you don't lose sight of the focus and the purpose and the love and the endurance, if you don't lose sight of those things, all is well. But you got to tell all is well.
Mm-hmm.
Them kids, let me tell you something. And this needs to be for everybody. I knew somebody grew up in the house with their mama and dad. They dad had dipped out from time to time. And I'm not saying it's you.
No,
I'm going somewhere with this conversation. You get what I'm saying?
yes, ma'am.
And the mama stayed and she endured. The dad had his whatever. When the kids got older, it was a catch-22 on both sides. The mama because she stayed with, and the daddy because he did what he did. Do you hear this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
These were people in their 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that to yourself. Because if you're not exactly, and we're not perfect. I don't know now. I don't know there's not a human being walking the face of the earth that don't struggle with some form of depression, anxiety, or mental issues. Ain't nothing nobody can tell me. I don't care. I don't receive it. I don't believe it. But what I will tell you is part of walking in their freedom is being okay with knowing that they are okay. Because I don't believe that the man I'm talking to on this Zoom, if this children was in a compromising situation, they would be where they are. They may be in a challenging situation. They may be in a separated situation. But we make too deep of the situations than what they really are, because we go into things wanting them to have the perfect lifestyle. Ain't nothing on this earth perfect. You are who you are. She is who she is. Y'all make it work. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. And the fact that in your writing, you're constantly working on yourself. That ain't about nobody else. That ain't about nobody you drove by. That ain't about nobody you talked to at the bus stop. That ain't about nobody you met at no gas station. These are your experiences. So don't let the devil get inside your head and try to convince you that because you ain't under that roof, because it ain't nothing but a lie. Don't do that to yourself. Don't you do that to yourself, because if you do it to yourself, then you do it to them.
Absolutely.
Okay? I'm going to get off my soapbox. Y'all got to stop doing me like that, because they drain my energy. But don't do that to yourself. You know, you got, do not let the enemy come in and try to convince you that you in the wrong. Because there is nothing new, ain't a darn thing new under the sun. And I tell people, they want to read a good soap opera, they must don't know the Bible. I ain't even finna go there. Because if I done sent this to some clergy people, so I don't want to upset them with making the wrong statements right now. We want to focus on issue at hand. Because I'm telling you, I got stuff to bag up my thoughts. But don't do that to yourself, whatever you do. When I tell you don't do that to yourself, do not, it's easier said than done. But instead of, even though that's inside your head, it's a song to say sometimes you got to encourage yourself. So when you encourage yourself, you remind yourself of who you come from and who you belong to. Don't you let the enemy get inside your head. It ain't right. You on a good path. You doing good things. You ministering to people, not just men. I get it. I understand the readings. I understand the writings. But you can't, I don't care if you male, female, white, black, Republican, independent, Democrat, Indian, Mexican, gay, straight. You can't read your writings. You can't read your stuff and not walk away with some type of feeling. You're doing a powerful work. And if you're not careful with protecting yourself and your peace, then you will lose yourself, you lose your purpose, you lose your sight, and you lose that. Them girls know they daddy good. You think they don't know? Can't nobody tell them nothing about their dad. Even if they got an attitude with you, even if you showed up 5 minutes late, can't nobody tell them nothing about their daddy. You hear me? Because resentment grows over the years. So somebody can try it. Hear what I'm telling you. Hear what I'm telling you. Somebody can try it, but it don't do nothing but backfire. God does not reward evil with good.
That's right.
Don't you do that to yourself. I got a story that people I've been working with for almost 11 years don't even know. But I'm here to tell you now, he does not reward it. It's some things and some decisions you're going to make in the moment. It ain't going to make sense to nobody. It's just going to make sense between you and God. But don't you dare tell yourself that you're wrestling with being in an environment that is not conducive to your mental health. Also, you can sit around and be around your girls and not be healthy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
You got a purpose deeper than your writing. Your purpose is deeper than your reading. Your purpose is deeper than you going on your lives. Your purpose is so deep, you ain't even scraped the surface. Now, I'm telling you what I know for a fact. You know, it's in the New Testament. They got these 3 people. All of them got gifts. I ain't finna be breaking down which book they in. One of them buried the gifts. One of them did this and one of them did that. But the one that utilized his gifts is the one that was blessed. To sum it up, you're utilizing your gifts. You gifted. You anointed. And ain't a dadgum thing you can do about it. You didn't choose it. God chose you. Ain't nothing you can do about that. There is nothing you can do about it. But you can reject it or you can accept it. But don't beat yourself up about some stuff that's just beyond, God in control. You continue to work on you. And if it's other people focusing on what you need to work on, they delaying themselves because while they working on you, you working on yourself and God steady blessing. Now, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm sorry, Mama. I saw Mama say good words, sis. Thank you, Mama. I appreciate you, Mama, because Miss Cherie Moore, thank you. I wasn't trying to do that to him, but I can't have him up here and I cannot do that. We did that to my dad. It ain't right. It ain't right. It ain't right and it ain't fair. And I said I didn't say my mom. Now, I'm serious. Listen, it's done. It's all is well, it's done. Because you ain't gonna tell me that some man of your caliber and some man of your status is gonna let your kids be in a bad situation. So they just ain't, whatever. They'd be just fine. They girls?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
7, 11, and 23.
23?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the 23-year-old, she don't know?
No, she live with her mother.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot of estrogen under one roof. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just telling you, I was 23, I was birthing babies. Did I say that? I said it. My mom been gone since I was 17. They fine. You know how I know they fine? You ain't worried about the 23-year-old. You worried about them young ones. She gonna make sure they straight. They probably bumping heads, but we ain't finna go there right now. But whatever. I know how it go. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. They fine.
Yes, ma'am.
If they ain't fine, they got an 18 Mississippi. I can't do nothing but send you a inspirational card. I can send you some inspiration. Now they need some inspiration. I can send them some inspiration. Now that's not all I can do. I can hey, this is what you need to be doing. Now you need to work on yourself. Because it ain't your position to critique your parents, your mama, or your dad. Because we all flawed.
Yes, ma'am.
You ain't got to be Superman. You need to stop that because that takes away from your present situation. But I ain't going to go there either. But since I got you right here, you better be careful because if you got somebody decent, ain't nobody, you can't be sinking yourself in other stuff always either.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Now, your mama is precious, honey. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Your mama is precious. You hear me? Let me
Yes.
tell you something. Your mama is precious. Okay. So clearly some of what I'm saying, she done told you before. Sometimes you just need confirmation. It's all good in the hood. It's all good. People know me. That's why I say I'm not as, as you are. I just come out and say it. I
I
can't
told
help
you,
it.
I appreciate that.
What you see is what you get. I love people. I give you the shirt off my back. But if it come up, it come out.
Yes.
So tell these people where they can find your book.
You can find the book on Amazon, Courageous Vulnerability, by Justin Wilson. Look it up on Amazon. I believe it's like 15.99.
It don't matter about no price. We ain't finna go there route.
Okay. It's on
It need
Amazon.
to be $20. Your book, how much?
15.99.
Maybe that's why I ain't sold none, but that book need to go up to about $20. Cause my book been 20 and I ain't dropping the price. That's all I'm saying. My book been 20. That's probably why I ain't sold but 2-3 copies on Amazon. But I ain't taking my price down.
I got
But
you.
whatever. I'm just telling you, that's the business aspect of me, but don't let me interrupt what you got going on with your book situation. But all I'm saying, like, you telling me that book ain't but $20?
Mm.
That
It'll,
book and
it'll
that
be.
kind of writing ain't but $20. That's an Othello and Romeo and Juliet book. You telling me that book ain't but $20?
It'll be by the end of the week.
Y'all, he's so nice. I'm learning. I ain't dropping my price though, but I'm learning. I'm listening. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing it. I'm just saying. I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am.
Mine 25 if I give you a hard copy and I sign it, not yours. Yours ain't because it's one thing, it's something else I wanted to ask you. That's very, I think it's very important. We deal with you in New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm down here in Mississippi in the South, and I am in Jackson, Mississippi. So, don't believe everything you hear about Jackson from the negative aspect, okay? Because my daughter literally graduated from the IB program. Like she got her IB diploma during COVID.
Mm.
Yeah, she a 2020 pandemic graduate.
Mm.
Yeah, really. Yeah, and
Congratulations on that too.
yeah, she one of them people that ain't never been taught. My kids ain't never been taught to sit still, so they've been outside kids they whole life in four-wheelers, and they climb trees and they go out and they do stuff and they do bomb. They just do stuff, okay. But they had to participate on church stuff. They had to do school stuff. They had to do this. They had to do this. What I struggle with as a parent, and I understand the education sector because I come from a history on both sides, a lineage of educators. I can't do it. I threw a shoe in Sunday school. I cannot. That's not my call, right? Not where I can't reach out and touch somebody. My concern is clearly your mama made sure that you knew how to count and you knew how to spell your name.
Mm-hmm. Yes. At a young age.
At a young age. The issue we're having, especially in the beautiful Magnolia State, even before COVID, I want to say that this is not a COVID issue. You got people graduating high school and their parents don't know they can't read. It has been publicly said on television. So if you could encourage a parent or a caregiver or auntie, uncle, or anybody that's taking care of a school-age kid from pre-K through 12 about anything dealing with reading, their name, writing, anything, what would it be?
I would say that in today's day and age of the internet, uh, even if you can't do it yourself, there are so many free resources, and so many people that are willing to help you for free. But there's no reason that that should be the case. I think another thing that we have to stop doing is stop using reading, stop weaponizing reading. I'm gonna make you turn that TV off and read a book. That's weaponizing reading. Like make reading a privilege again. I remember growing up, my mother used to say, "You're gonna read the newspaper." And it had to read the newspaper just so I guess so you knew so I knew what was going on. I ain't gonna lie, I'm grown, so she ain't gonna whoop me now, but I was reading the cartoon section. But
Oh,
I remember, but I definitely knew to pick up the newspaper. And then it just puts you in a much better place in life when you grow accustomed to reading. And again, it there are a lot of there are a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of help out there for you if you can't help your kids learn how to read for yourself. I'll openly admit that the homework that my kids bring home nowadays is hieroglyph, and I can't read hieroglyph. I don't know what we going. So I will quickly go to the internet and type in what's going on. Because I can read, I can say, okay, this is how this works, and then I can help them with their homework. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes I have to call their mom and be like, hey, help. Uh, my girl, sometimes I'm like, hey, what is this? And then she'll help. Like we work. So, make sure you got a strong community. But I will never forget, I was 19 years old, riding on a train, the MARTA train in Atlanta, Georgia, and I heard two older gentlemen talking, and I heard one of them say, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book.
in a book, baby, in a book.
I said, you will never hide nothing from me again. From that day to this one, I couldn't tell you if it was they were white, black. I couldn't tell you what they looked like. I just knew. I remember gray hair and glasses. That's all I remember. And I said to myself, I don't know why that impacted me the way it did, but I said, you know what? I'm not. No, y'all ain't had nothing for me no more. So I literally will read anything I can get my hands on, and I encourage everybody to push reading on the family. I've been watching this YSL case in Georgia, and one of the young men got up there and said he was like, I can't read and different things like that. He done signed all kind of paperwork setting himself up for failure just because he can't read. Um, and so I think we set us we if we don't encourage reading in our young people, we're setting them up for failure. I hope my daughters are infinitely better at reading and writing than I am, and I hope their kids after them are better, and I hope that it continues. I hope that the black community, our people in general, just start reading. Like I, so I'll say this, right? Growing up, I grew up in the hood like everybody else, and well, like some people, and you hear how our Caucasian brothers and sisters talk to the police, and it sounds crazy, right? But then I start reading, and I learn about my rights. And I'm like, okay, so this is what they mean was I have a Second Amendment right. I have the Fourth Amendment. I have the Fifth Amendment. Like I start reading and I learn this stuff, and I realize it could be because of the color of their skin, but it also could be because they're informed about what the Constitution actually says. And it just changed. It changed a lot for me with when dealing with the police because I just picked up the Constitution and started reading, seeking to understand it. So reading can unlock a lot of doors in your life, and I strongly encourage it. Please try to get your kids to encourage reading. There are resources. I'm in New Jersey, and I know there are resources everywhere here. Uh, they are absolutely everywhere here, and I'm sure they're there. But I think as a culture, reading is weaponized. It's made like it's boring. Unless, of course, you post it on social media. I can assure you that the amount of reading that people do on social media, if they were to apply it to a book that could teach them something, everybody would be more educated by next year. So yeah, I would say you have time to read because you read on social media all the time.
Wow.
So yeah.
You got a group of people here tonight, so let me go. Is there anybody that wants to come off mute and wants to say anything? This would be the time. You still got 3 people online, and we're gonna give them a few seconds because sometimes things are delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Anything at all. I can see y'all, but I don't want to call your names out because I know I don't like being put on the spot. Mom, you say Cherie Moore is your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
So she already gave a comment, and I appreciate her so very much for that. I haven't met her, but I know she's a phenomenal woman. But I do want you to know that you have Jesse Farrell online out of Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay,
And
yeah, I know
got, yeah, you got Say No More. They're online as well. So,
yeah,
you know.
She's one of the first people with the book, Say No More.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want to thank you all for being here because one thing I can say, it means a lot when people are being on and they're supportive. So your presence here, everybody, actually means a lot. It means a lot. So what I want you to do is I want you to close us out, and I want you to tell people, okay, hold on one minute. Wait a minute. Let me see what Mama said. Hold on. Mama got her. I'm working on the machine behind me so loud. But I have enjoyed the interview. Okay, so Mother has really enjoyed the interview. She has truly enjoyed the interview. Mom, thank you so much for being here on behalf of your son. It's a privilege that all of you all are here. So I do want to say that all of you all are here. And this will not be the last if Mr. Wilson is okay with that.
Absolutely.
Because he is just so much that he has to offer. You can't get it all in one setting, right? But but thank you so much, Mom, for being here. And we want to thank so we do want to thank Mom, and we want to thank Jesse Farrell, and we do want to thank Say No More, because it truly means a lot when you have people. Say No More says, Justin, I love you.
I love you too, sis.
And we thank you so much. You know, I know y'all know, but I'm gonna just say it. It means a lot when you all are supporting people, and your time is very much well appreciated, especially if you all are an hour ahead. And so I'm sorry that it's late in the evening, but I have to schedule things when I know I'm gonna be in place, because I've been known in the past to kind of mess up, and I had to learn over time. But I thank you all for truly, truly, truly being here. So, Justin, this is what I want you to do. You're going to close all of us out. I want you to give your social media handles. I want you to tell people, where they can find you and all of that. And then I want you to leave everybody with something encouraging and inspirational. And once you say good night, then we'll hit the end button and I'll be in contact with you in the morning, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right, so you can find me on Facebook at Justin Wilson or author Justin Wilson. You can find me on Instagram at Justin at JAY_will make it. Or author Justin Wilson. You can find me on TikTok at author Justin Will. I think it's author Justin Will on TikTok. Um, yeah, you can find me on there on social media. The pictures are all the same, so you'll be able to. It'll definitely be me that you find there. As far as something to say, um, this is inspired by you. You are not your past, and you have the power through God's divine ordinance to shape your future. And I'm gonna leave you with that.
Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you so much. Listen, everybody, we appreciate you all. I'll be in touch. And it's already up. You already been tagged. All you got to do is hit the share button. Thank y'all
Will
so
do.
much. Blessings to you all, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Good night.
Good night.